Good morning, one and all. On behalf of the student startup and innovation ecosystem and the entire fraternity of startup enthusiasts, I would like to welcome all to this special session. This is the 12th edition of Startup Engage program. It's a privilege to have Principal Secretary Hiranmay Sharma Madam, the Chairperson I have today. Welcome, Madam. We also have today Professor Himanshu Pandya, Vice Chancellor, Gujarat University and Chief Mentor I have. Welcome, sir, for joining this session. And we have two amazing speakers and change makers. We have with us Madam Mamta Verma. She is the Secretary for Tourism, Devsthanam, Civil Aviation, Pilgrimage, Gujarat. She played a very critical role in the startup efforts in the state of Gujarat when she was the Commissioner of Industries. We'll also sooner have so all the viewers who are listening through Facebook Live at iHub page, this session is again going to be an amazing, insightful session in which we will directly be listening to people who have conceived major efforts at the ground level and also made impact through public policy. We said that, welcome Pandya, Chief Mentor iHub, to share his words.
Good morning, Namaskar. It's indeed a pleasure to be here on the Startup Engage series. And today we have Mrs. Mamta Verma. She herself is a mentor for startup activities in Gujarat. Whenever somebody talks about the industrial involvement and academia's contribution in the field of startup and innovation activities in the state of Gujarat, we need to remember and consider Mrs. Mamta Verma as a pioneer. For the benefit of the audience, I would like to draw few initiatives what Government of Gujarat and iHub is coordinating. We have more than 17 flagship programs. Under that, we are helping young startups and innovators for all their requirements of IPR, company establishment, trademark, copyright, and the mentorship required for their each and every stage of growth. I'm happy to share with the audience that we have more than 150 mentors on board. And they all are working excellently in their own endeavors. With this iHub is promoting the startup activities in the state of Gujarat, where each and every youngster of this state is invited to contribute something for the growth of state and nation ultimately. It's very easy to develop something novelty in our approaches. But when it comes to the materialization of the idea, you need some support, you need some help. And if it is available free of charge, without any consideration, it valued a lot. हम यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा काम करते हैं जिससे हमारे युवा नौकरी दाता बने, नौकरी वांछू नहीं बने। जब हम नवीन भारत की बात करते हैं तो एक सबसे बड़ा प्रश्न आता है कि नवीन भारत बनेगा कैसे। मुझे लगता है कि if we can support the innovative ideas and some sort of novelty in approaches, we can also compete the developed countries and we can contribute something to the society also. When our Honorable Prime Minister is giving us all these slogans, we should consider it as a movement. the Startup India, Stand Up India, Digital India, Make in India, and currently with Atmanirbhar Bharat, what I believe as an academician, that each and every student is bubbling with energy. They really want to work on some ideas. They want to materialize their own prototypes, but they are clueless where to get all this support. So I think I invite all these young achievers and thinkers at iHub, and I assure you full support for everything what we mentioned. Today's webinar would be very much helpful because, like I told you, we have a speaker and a mentor who has contributed a lot in the areas of startup and enterprises in the state of Gujarat. I would request Madam Mamta Verma to continue and to deliver her talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pandya, for highlighting our initiatives to support startups. Before we go to listen to Madam Mamta ji, may I request Anju Sharma Madam, Principal Secretary, Higher and Technical Education, to address us.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, everybody. Mamta Verma, my colleague in the government, Secretary Tourism. It's really a matter of pleasure and a privilege for me to host her today on this Startup Engage program. She has contributed a lot when she was in the Industries Department for the done a lot for the startups, and it has been awaited since long that we would have got her on this platform to interact with our viewers, for young innovators, students who are aspiring to be innovators, and already in the startup arena. She is Secretary Tourism now, and she looks after the tourism sector. It will be very informative to hear her views on various aspects. How can the startups leverage the opportunities that are available in the tourism sector and various other sectors that are in the hospitality or similar sectors? How can we leverage them, and especially at a time when the entire tourism and hospitality sector is passing through a very, very challenging phase, passing through a huge crisis. So at this time, her views on how the available infrastructure, how the available facilities can be leveraged, and how we can think of creating a new normal for tourism and hospitality. I'm sure our student innovators will try to understand, will ask questions, and will figure out ways of working together. I also request her from this platform to be a constant mentor to our innovators, always as ever, and also formally take some startups into mentoring through iHub. Now I would not come in the way of the speaker and the audience. Welcome, Mamta. All yours. Thank you so much.
So,
Yes.
Thanks, Hiranmay. Thanks, Pandya Sahab. Thanks a lot, all the students and everyone who has come today on this platform. And it is really a matter of honor and privilege for me to be among all of you. And if we talk about startups and if we talk about the entire ecosystem, the kind of work which iHub is doing, which I have been knowing all of you for so long, that the contribution from iHub, from GTU, from Gujarat University, it is tremendous actually. And this is a long journey. It's a long journey where everyone will have to contribute. all the stakeholders, whether it is government or educational institutions or the startup mentors or even the startup promoters, they all have to come together, and everyone will have to contribute their own bit to further the entire, to strengthen the entire ecosystem, and also to see that, Mr. Pandya said very important thing, that we should become a job, giver, not job seeker. I think this is what a startup is all about. It is not only to fulfill your own dreams, but also to contribute to society, to see whether, to give job to people, and at the same time to fulfill your dreams, your passion. But to start with, I would say that anything you are working, it needs also to be commercially viable. At the same time, it also needs to be to see to it that, whatever you are working on, it should also be related to society or science and technology or something for which our society needs some solutions. I think that is very important. So, Hiranmay, do I just speak about it, or share how would you like me to go on?
Ma'am, maybe initially for 10 minutes you can comment on your efforts and then questions.
Okay. So, I'll just give you some, to start with. I think it's very important, I'll just speak a little bit about how we started. I know you all might not be interested also, but I'm very happy to note and to see that now Government of Gujarat has come out with another policy where even the assistance has also gone up, and the kind of support which is being extended to startup, that has also gone phenomenally high, which is very good. So one thing you all must understand and appreciate, that this government is really very keen, and they really want to be with you all in this journey. At the same time, they would like to, handhold you. They would like to, see to it that, whatever you are working on, it is actually, you give it a best try, and it should be, you are able to at least meet, all the support you are able to get. So when we started, nothing was there. It was just, I think we used to talk, Hiranmay used to also come. So we used to talk a lot how the policy can be framed. And we did not know what to do, what kind of a policy should be done, especially from an industry sector point of view. It was very difficult, to understand and to see what kind of a support can be given, what kind of an institutional framework can be given. So it all started with one very simple policy where we identified there will be some startups. Let us give them, because there is this kind of a pressure is there on the students, that if they want to take off, for 1 year or 2 years and work on their new project, it becomes very difficult to support them. At the same time, they also have this, pressure from the peer and society that, if someone is asked, what are you doing? They'll say, oh, I'm working on this project. So people will say, ye to kuch karta nahi hai. So that is why it was also decided to keep some kind of a sustenance amount, so that they, with pride, they can say that they are working and they are working on a project. So that is how it was all started. And I think, it has been quite a successful journey till now. We did have a lot of issues in the beginning, but at the same time, since Gujarat, the flexible nature of governance, at the same time, very proactive, with a lot of proactive participation from all the stakeholders. I think subsequently, slowly, the policy was strengthened, the institutional framework was strengthened, and later on, education department, of course, DST also came out with their own policy, but the way education department has taken up, it is really commendable. And now it has the kind of work which is being done in, because after all, it is from the educational institute only students will come out. They will get their dreams. They will, they will also know how to fulfill it also. So it is very important that the kind of role and the kind of work which is being done by education department, especially in the colleges and the university level. And this is where people will get trained, the capacity will increase, and they will know that, they will have more skills to handle the market pressures, to handle the knowledge part of it. At the same time, the kind of knowledge which is being provided at this level from IHEB and from all the educational institutions, I think that is also very important for all the startup promoters, because not only you should know what is basically happening in your own sector. You should know what are the opportunities, you should know what are the strengths. At the same time, you should know where, what kind of a market is going to be there. If you start working on something today and you should also be in the market at the right time. That is also very important. You work on a project for 2 years and then someone else is there and he takes a benefit. So you will be, so it's very important to know when to enter, how to sustain, yourself. At the same time, how also to keep it dynamic so that you are meeting day-to-day challenges. I am sure that all of you know, and all of you must, I think 6 months back, we never knew that the world is going to see so much of changes. And I'm sure the kind of pressure which we are having right now, it is presenting a lot of opportunities to people, to startups. And I mean, of course, to talk about tourism right now, it is something which is, because tourism has really got affected from Corona. But I'm sure and I know that there are so many opportunities which the entire shutdown, lockdown and other, the way, human behavior, it has also changed. So it is also giving so many opportunities to people to see, to innovate, and to see what kind of a solution you can provide. So that is how I think our mind should also work in such a manner that, we should keep innovative and we should keep thinking. We should not get stuck at one place. And so this is one thing which I would like to tell, everyone, that since the way things are going on, life goes on, at the same time, everyone should keep thinking, keep innovating. And innovation is not something which you will get, you also need to know. You need to know your sector, your project, your scheme, everything very well. And you should also understand that, sometimes you need to also take help of people. It is very important for mentors to handle. And I'm willing, Hiranmay, I'm willing to be a mentor even later on also. If there's any specific project or if there's any specific book, if they like to, take my, assistance in any way, I'm always willing to, contribute, to give time and to see that if few dreams are met, I think it will be our contribution to society. So I think that's it from my side. I think we can also open the forum and we can also take now one by one so that it becomes more interactive.
Thank you so much, madam. In fact, as I can closely see, जिस तरीके से आपने स्टार्टअप्स को पर्सनली मेंटरशिप किए हैं, इतने सारे स्टार्टअप्स को इवैल्यूएशन के दौरान आपने पर्सनली इंटरेक्शन किए हैं, that also creates a lot of bridge between the ecosystem and public policy at large, and which actually led this movement going. So, madam, one question I will pick from the Facebook Live along with other participant is, now you are presently leading the tourism and aviation and hospitality and allied domains. And this is one area which is significantly affected in the post-COVID world. And there are a lot of companies who are working in this domain also. So 2 questions combining for you. One is, how do you see entrepreneurs having opportunity in this domain? And second, in the post-COVID world, how they need to pivot or make things around?
So it's a very important thing, as I said earlier also, this is one sector which has really got affected because, but at the same time, the opportunities are also huge, because as far as for the existing entrepreneurs or for the existing players, it also it's very important to reorient yourself to the changing needs. Because, if the kind of business which was being done earlier, it has been changed. Now people are really looking for more, health, safety, and all those aspects. And at the same time, there are opportunities because now the way I see it, that people are going for more personalized, trips, tours, or anything related with entertainment. So I think this is where the opportunity lies. One can, even people who are working, for example, for tours and travels, and also for the young. There are some very nice startups which are working in the travel industry also. So if you know the locations, places, and the skill development with skilling and all that, if people are quite ready to handle guests, in the post-COVID area, I think this is where, I mean, that is something which is needed also. At the same time, it has started also. There are some places where, so this is one area where even a lot more can be done, how to identify good, right from the skilling to, to handling of the guest, at the same time to design, conceptualize the tours and travels and other, even in the food industry also. So this is how things have changed also. So I think this is going to present a lot of opportunities, and people are reorienting. So my message to everyone is that please think, reorient, and change, to the new opportunities, so that you are able to cater to what public is, And tourism is one sector where all of us are actually, if you see that we are, once our work is over or whatever, we would like to, to take off, go somewhere, relax, even if it is in our surrounding areas also. So there are a lot of those opportunities, where, there are niche sectors like, like bird watching, or, even in this monsoon time, people would like to go to forest areas. So these are, I mean, if you know your locations well, if you know your, how it can be presented well, how it can also be even in the marketing, in other sector also, there are a lot of opportunities. The way we present it to, the way we, the messaging to people is also very important. Yeah.
Wonderful, madam. In fact, what we can take one step ahead is we can pull in all tourism-related startups and have an interaction with you sometime later on, so that they can present what they are trying to do and maybe take your guidance and inputs to fine-tune their business model, because then they can really learn, like you mentioned, these are areas of scope and opportunity, and they can create public good. Madam, you have very closely looked at Gujarat startup ecosystems since over half a decade now. What are the things that you think we have very strong foundation as an ecosystem, and what are the areas that you think we can really learn from other ecosystem, having seen the world across, having seen the other ecosystem outside Gujarat? Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah. So the way, of course, now what I feel that, Gujarat has, if you see from earlier times also, Gujarat has a very strong base of some of the very good institutions, whether it is educational institutions, whether if you see IIM, CIIE, and and also at the same time there are government institutions like CD is there, and even some of the very good educational institutions, universities are there. So that is our strength, And I don't have the figures right now, but I'm sure that we have the kind of rural institutions we have, the kind of, I think it is also quite huge in here. So that is the strength we have. At the same time, we do have some issues when it comes to scaling of projects are concerned. At the same time, in the initial stage, we are very good. I think when after that initial stage, in the mid-level of stage, we do need to strengthen that, that infrastructure or ecosystem, where we need more, positive handholding, mentor, very strong network of mentors we need actually. At the same time, we also need to link with industry or with that specific sectors, and we would want, so that is something which I feel that can be strengthened further. At the same time, because people always talk about, Bangalore and other places. I feel that, Gujarat has its own, very good ecosystem where it has been promoted. We do have, but, so I think this is the mid-level where we need to work hard. And now we do have in the third stage where it comes to venture fund and other things. There also we are quite okay. At the same time, with more and more such events, hackathons and other things, where I think that can also be strengthened. So this, I feel that, when there is a time when, and there's nothing wrong if people are moving, for better, for mentorship. But I think this is where, and this is also getting strengthened also, I would say. In the last few years, the kind of work which everyone is doing, it is being strengthened, but we need to work on that particular level a lot more.
In fact, I will just supplement to you what you told, madam, for the interest of the viewers. Under leadership, the Gujarat Venture Finance Limited did a very fabulous job in terms of creating the venture ecosystem in the state. because that was very pioneering effort, because now we have more than a couple of dozen startups who got supported through your policy at industry department, and now they are going to next stage to raising capital. And I think GVFL played a very fantastic role. They got very good exits. Would you like to highlight a little bit about in the venture
Yeah,
fund?
actually, when we started, that time we realized that, because when we started at that time, Government of India policy had also not come. So, but we realized that, after some level, because there is this, we all know that in the startup that there is a concept of value of debt, that after some time, so it is at that stage when you need seed money. In fact, what good thing which has been done is that Government of Gujarat is giving a very good, seed money concept is also there. But after that seed money is exhausted, you also need venture fund. You also need some kind of, So this is where we thought that if we have the entire chain, in the entire link, we also need to have a venture fund system. So when I was talking about, having very good ecosystem, that time, even GVFL is also doing very good work, because they are specialized in the venture funding. So we decided that let us have one startup fund, which is specifically catering to the needs of the startups which are being promoted by our institutions. And that is how the idea came, and then it was decided to have about 250 crore fund was there. I don't have the figure right now, how many they have done, but I think it was, they also went to a lot of, institutions, and lot of, promotional, this thing was done. And now they are also scrutinizing a lot of, these things. So the way we try to handle it, in a sense that, both forward and backward linkages we try to, have. Because if you you need to strengthen the entire ecosystem chain, then only people will. Otherwise, what will happen, that student or anyone will come till one level, and then they are forced to go out. If people are going out with a choice, then it is okay. But at the same time, we decided to give whatever they need in that, forward and backward linkages, so that they are able to, their requirements are being met. So that is how we did it. And I'm sure GVFL, the kind of work they did, and they are right now scrutinizing also. They are right now scrutinizing also, and they have supported a lot of, some of the startups which have been funded by GVFL, they are also doing very well.
Yes,
So this is also one request or one, idea to all the students who are like planning to, pursue your own dream. I think you must know what is being offered by government, by all the institution, and you should try to seek, that information, and try to, whenever the right time is there, go for the pitching and try to get those ones. Yeah.
Wonderful. You rightly mentioned, madam, how it is important to create this forward-backward integration. And I do remember when you launched this seed scheme, and this was one of the first scheme anyhow in the country before anybody could thought through. And the amount of resources that you used to give 20 lakhs of money, and if I'm right, around 250 teams got support through that pipeline. And recently, madam, we used to interact some of these startups whom you funded. Some of them has got very strong private capital raising by now. So last week, one startup raised $8 million from Sequoia Capital. So I think you rightly mentioned that you are filling the gap in which if there is a backward integration from university, if somebody is doing research, you can come through these public systems, and then they can go to private capital. So I think this is a beautiful thing, and that has really led the ecosystem going. And then, as you mentioned, there is venture capital who can take you to the next phase, and that's really wonderful. Madam, you have personally, I personally have seen you sitting in every evaluation meeting of startups and personally looking at what data going on. I'm sure you might have recruited more than 200, 300 startups during that phase. What are the observations that you have on Gujarat-based startups? Which are the areas that they should improve upon? Because as I remember, once you used to say me that, they are technically very sound, but how do you really take it to a business perspective? These are certain areas that they need to work on. So would you like to throw some light on that?
So some of the areas where I feel, and when I'm saying it, it is with this observation that, our students, they have really done a lot of work and, everything. So and when they come also quite prepared. But some of the things which I realize which needs to be done, is also, I think, more and more, I mean, market should be very well studied, I think. That is something where sometimes people are missing. People miss on those aspects. And a lot of time what has happened is that, those Me Too kind of, startups are coming, when you are seeing what is happening in other countries, same kind of thing. So we also need to understand that what is the scalability, because at one level, I don't think that it can be scaled up to that level. So that is something which I feel that, was in some of the cases I realized that, it may not go to that reach, because if 100 people are working on it, I think you need to be very, very forward looking. At the same time, you need to be in touch with market, whether it will work or not. So that is also one thing I realized, that, those things are lacking, because people, and that is why it is very important to have, discussion with each other, because what is happening that at the same time, on one project, there are 10, teams are working. So it may be good to understand, to study, but at the same time, not all that kind of venture will be, will be successful in the market. So that is what that is one thing which I realized, that it was a thing. And Hiranmay, earlier you were also saying, I feel also that we also need to strengthen some kind of an angel funding network also. Though we have a very strong angel funding network, but we need to tap them also properly for our own startups. So that is something which we need to work. And apart from that, I think market research, having, to have slightly more, you need to think slightly more futuristic way also. So on some part, we realize that was also missing. If you're giving solution, the scalability part, commercial viability part, I think was lacking in many startups. So because it can be made functional, but to sustain it in the long run, this is where I felt that, people can work more on those things.
Wonderful, ma'am. These are really good mantras, because these come out from your deeper engagement with the ecosystems and interaction with entrepreneurs. One question I will pick from the live session is, in your interaction, how did you find participation of women in startups and entrepreneurs? You might have seen a lot of startups in this thing. So did you find a proper participation of women in these startups as a lead founder or co-founder, or how was that ratio?
I think I missed on that part. What did you say? What was the main question?
Women participating in entrepreneurship. So, I mean, the gender factor of entrepreneurship. So the question maybe is, is the boys are the all smart ones who are making company, or even the girls are coming forward?
No, that is something which, I feel that, girls have really, I mean, I came across a lot of, women promoters. They were so smart, and some of the, I think there are one or two projects which when the pitching happened, then at that time in GDFL I was there, and promoters were very, very smart, very good. I don't think that they can, even with the existing entrepreneurs also, they are much, much more smart. So I feel that, this in the entrepreneurship area, I don't think that it is anything related with gender. I mean, of course, more and more girls are coming forward, that entrepreneurship feeling and the skills are there, and I think they are doing wonderful work. So I feel that we should even, and if you see, even this time the policy also is giving more, enhanced, sustenance amount to the women promoters or the women entrepreneur. So this is which is a very welcome thing, and which is also needed in the market. So I feel that, in terms of innovation, in terms of, I don't think that there is any barrier in if it comes to male or gender related barriers are not there. But at the same time, we need to promote more. We need to give, because it's a long and it's a tough journey. So we need to promote, and we need to also make women aware that, that these things are there and they can dream and they can fulfill their dream also.
Wonderful, madam. Ma'am, one point that you mentioned again in the similar question I see in the chat box is you mentioned about role of industry and high net worth individuals coming forward to support startups, either in form of an angel investor or a mentor or something like that. So this question particularly maybe your views, how the Chamber of Commerce or support you think they play a role in the ecosystem?
So you're mentioning about the chambers, how they can help, the industry association. So I think, Hiranmay, that's a very crucial area. That is something which is basically, which can be the role of institutions. And because of course, I mean, students and entrepreneurs cannot, if we leave it to them, I mean, it will be even, so this is also one area where we need to really work. Because the chambers association, they can really be very helpful, because they can become mentor, or the products which are being developed or which are being taught, they can also promote it in their own, in their own, client base. And the second is that, there are a lot of industry problems that are happening. Industry problems, whether it is technical in nature or, or in terms of some other, product level, so there also a lot of issues are there. I don't know, and I don't think that we have been able to tap those things, to the optimum level. So this is also one area where we need to work, because I have met a lot of industry people where they have issues. They try to open some university, some institution, but those questions, those problems, if it is being posed to the students, to the innovators, I think they can also come out with, and it is happening through a lot of hackathons and other things. But at the same time, something which is, because if the solution is given, I mean, even the promoters can see the results, actual result in a practical manner. So, I mean, this is one thing, whether it is, I mean, when I talk about high worth individuals or angel investing, that is a second thing. But on, we need to coordinate. We need to be working more and more in touch with the industry. Because if we are able to, if they are able to give us problems, and if they are able to also take the products which are being manufactured, whether it is product or design or anything, or the solutions which are being made by the startups, and they are able to, they either it can be a pilot project or they can expect. I think we can escalate the entire process of this trending of ecosystem. Yes. So I don't know whether, I mean, I think that, you can also coordinate with all these associations, but with the association, it is also important to, because not many times, not everyone is very active in the association. So association is definitely one should work. At the same time, we can also reach out to the industry, specific industry people also, and we can also take their individual problems, and it can be given to the team who are working, and so that they can come out with their solutions. Yeah.
For that, in which we wanted to rope in good industries who want to give back, who want to mentor few people, who want to connect few startups. So we started a special program recently called Mind to Market, in which we are roping in good industry people from Gujarat and outside, and who could mentor startups in their domain. So somebody can do in food, somebody can do in logistics, somebody can do on manufacturing. So that's a brilliant idea, and we are into it. We are trying to get into that group, and also will definitely take your guidance and input, because you have seen this industrial ecosystem also developing very closely, being the Commissioner of Industry, and that's because we generally call it triple helix: the industry, academia, and government. So I mean, people like you in government have been driver of change. Academia is now pushing it. The student startup and all these things are coming from academia. But yes, the industry is going to play a vital role. Ma'am, one question which should be more inspirational, maybe from personal to you. You become a civil servant after graduating as a psychology major student, and and doing a lot of things. What was your inspiration to come to civil service, and what are the excitement, learning that we can take from it?
So in terms of, I did my major in psychology, and I feel, if that is, of course, I think it's very important to understand the human, it helps in understanding the human nature. It also helps in, I think nothing in any place can work without a good teamwork, And when we are working in a team, it's very important that we are able to understand each other well, and also psychology that way it helps you in handling people well, at the same time also to let go of a lot of things and work in a good team manner, so that your maximum outcome or optimum outcome can be achieved by that. The complexities of the situation, and it is so much that we need to keep ourselves sane, and at the same time we need to be very cool, composed to handle the pressures and the challenges and the complexities. So this is where I think it has helped me also, and I'm sure that for any successful project, it is very important to tap even in the teamwork also. Everyone will come with their own skill sets. Everyone will come with their own capabilities. So how you are able to enhance and how you are able to take the right skills to further your, the project, whatever the project is needed. So I think this is how I feel that it's very important to utilize everyone's capabilities and in the right manner. So that way it has helped me.
Curious because, recently we realized that a lot of people are also coming into startups from non-technology background, and we lately realized that the behavioral aspect of the human persona plays a very vital role in risk-taking, in leadership, in enterprising, and we did a curious study recently that in the profile of all the startup teams, how many are tech, how many are coming from different, and we found significant chunk of people are coming from liberal arts and psychology and all the domains, because then you make a complete set of human organization, and that's very important, and that's really. Ma'am, one more question I will take from public, then we'll go for summarizing your session maybe, is how do you see Gujarat ecosystem a decade after? You people at the leadership level in the government really made suitable policy. Now we are half decade into building ecosystem. A lot of entrepreneurs are in early stage. You have created, received funds. Down the line, 10 years, the game is going to be very exciting for sure. But where do you see Gujarat ecosystem in your vision a decade after? Where we could stand?
The way I see it, I see a very promising, this thing, because the way things have happened in the last few years, and the way we are in the right direction. At the same time, right now that ecosystem is there, everyone is bubbling with a lot of enthusiasm. Things are happening at all levels. So I feel that there is a very I see a lot of change in and at the same time I don't think that we need to compete with any city or any district or any state. In our own way we are quite good, and even now in the designing part of anything, we are doing very good. And you very rightly said, that, even if you see anything, behavioral aspects are definitely there. So our startups are very doing work both in the technology field and the non-technical areas also. So I feel that in the coming areas, we will have our own identity, which we have started developing. We have our own identity, and we will be definitely giving a very good ecosystem to anyone who is actually for the people. It will be a very strong base for innovations to happen in our place. So I'm quite positive. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, that's going to take us quite far. Now, it's been a wonderful conversation, catching you up and picking your brain and communicating the entire ecosystem. Now, may I request Shri Nagarajan, Director of Higher Education, Government of Gujarat, who happens to be the Honorary Executive Director of IIA also. May I request you to some of the learnings from Mamta Madam's session? And
thank you, Hiranmay. Very good afternoon, ma'am. It's glad that we are glad that you are here, and we had a very insightful session from you. Before I go on to the wrapping up of the session by summarizing your observations and insights, one question I have, which I was suddenly struck in my mind. I just wanted to ask you, pick your brain about. You have worked in the traditional industries, and we have the startups wave that is happening. And like you said about corporate innovation and open innovation, bridges some of the gaps. But how do we ensure that our traditional investors, who are like, we have very high net worth individuals in cities like Ahmedabad, Surat, Rajkot, who are generally traditional investors, how do we convert them into a venture capital type investors from a traditional investing to a startup investing mode? So that will unlock a lot of interest, right?
Yeah, actually, Nagarajan, thanks a lot. It's a very good observation also, and very good question also. I feel that, more and more discussion, more and more, if the trust is there, because normally what happens that, all these people in their own way, a lot of them I know, and you might also, they are actually, actually helping, or, so whenever, because your idea needs to be very good. If they know that, that, and the second thing is the trust factor. So if those two things are there, and we are able to bridge that gap, and if we are able to, correlate or, make them, connected, I think then it will happen. So we need to play a very proactive role in bringing these two things together, because many a times in a very institutional framework, people are not willing to come forward and to open up. So we need to keep meeting them, keep having discussion. Maybe if the ideas are there, it can be presented well, and in a very systematic manner they can, and once the trust and, confidence is established, then I think they will be able to start doing it. So I think this is where we need to, and it's a continuous effort, it cannot happen, overnight. It has to be done in a manner, and everyone, because what happens that one person will be doing it and the second person will not. So I think it has to be done in a very, and slowly, the trust and confidence will come, and people will start coming start doing it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, wonderful, ma'am. I think trust and confidence is always going to be the key factor in any venture relationship or project, like you mentioned about team building and all that. So I think that's wonderful. Ma'am, it's a great pleasure on behalf of all the people who are watching this program on Zoom and also in Facebook Live, all the students, innovators and mentors, and also all our teachers and principals who are associated with SSIP, and all the audience. On behalf of them, I would like to really express a warm thanks to you for spending a lot of time with us and also sharing your very wide experience, because you bring that industry perspective, and because of your great experience. And long before the word startup and venture funding were in vogue, you had created some wonderful institutions that have stood the test of time and are making very impactful investments so far. We have had a lot of success stories about what GFL and iCreate has been doing. And we are also looking at connecting that pipeline and expanding the baseline and reaching every college and the student in the every taluka of the state, and make them, venture funding eligible by validating their idea. And then we probably hope that they all will graduate to GVFL and iCreate level funding. That is a kind of pipeline from mind to market to the venture pipeline. That is what I have is trying to fill the gap. And your presence today has enhanced our motivation levels and also provided better clarity on certain issues about working with the industry and all that. Thank you so much for being here, ma'am. And we look forward to your continued guidance and also for your wonderful offer to give your time for mentoring the startups. I think it's also going to help us in a big way in taking advantage of this wave to create some big opportunities for the youth of our state and also for the country. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for
Thank you,
today.
Nagarajan, and you are doing phenomenal work. Keep doing it the way you are doing it. I think it is going to really give a lot of success to the entire ecosystem. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.